take their seat, we'll get started. It's 6 o'clock, and we're going to, well, I want to welcome everybody tonight and thank everybody for coming out. This meeting, of course, it's about the trash service, and we look forward to your comments a little further on the deal. It's going to be very informal tonight. We don't have any formal presentations or anything like that. This was as a result of a council meeting back in June when we went to council with a proposal for increased bulk trash service and reduced cycle on, go to an every other week cycle for the recyclables. And from that, council at that time gave staff direction. They tabled that issue and gave staff direction to reach out to the citizens, and if we were going to make changes to the existing contract, if we were going to amend the existing contract, reach out to the citizens and let's let the citizens tell us what services the citizens would like to see in their trash service. Whether that's, I know we've had one or two citizens get up and express that they would like to see services back in the alley. Those type things like that. That's what we're looking for. Are there services that we're providing now that you don't like or don't want? Are there other services that are out there that you would like to see maybe provided? So these are the things that we're here tonight for. I'll kind of lead off with that. And again, I don't know that I've introduced myself. My name is Shane Kelton. I'm the Director of Operations for the city. I oversee, basically I'm the solid waste administrator, so I kind of oversee the contract. I do have a contract manager, Jeremy Miller. He's in the back of the room, and this is my assistant director, Patrick Frerick. City manager, Daniel Valenzuela over here. And so we have plenty of representative. I see one or two council members or three council members that are in the audience as well tonight too. So as we move forward, again, this is to get citizen input to allow you to come up and give us your feedback. What are the services that you would like to see? I would like to ask that if there are service issues that you're having issue with or something like that, that's not what this meeting is about. We will be very glad to visit with you about any service issues that you do have after the forum. Jeremy Miller in the back of the room, myself, Patrick Frerick, my assistant director, we'll be glad to visit with you after the forum as long as it takes. Hopefully we're going to wrap this up within an hour, but we want to let everybody have an opportunity to speak as well. In the back of the room, if you didn't get one, if you do not want to come to the microphone and speak tonight, we do have a kind of a brief questionnaire here. It has a couple of questions on it. You can fill this out, put your suggestions or your desires for your service on this questionnaire, and you can leave it at the back of the room if you don't feel comfortable speaking at the mic tonight. As we move forward, we will probably host another forum as we have a good turnout tonight. It's great to see people actually come out tonight, and so we will probably host another forum here in another couple of weeks to allow the people that maybe couldn't be here tonight to be able to come to a different one, so they as well can get up and voice their opinion as well. And then we're also going to be sending out this questionnaire form right here. We'll be sending this out in your utility statement throughout the month of August. We bill multiple times, or we don't bill, but we actually send out statements in a varied pattern, so we don't have all 20-something thousand accounts try to hit at one time. So it'll be out over the next 30 to 40 days. You should see one of these questionnaires in your billing statement. Also, this will also be available online at the COSA website, cosatx.us, and go to the solid waste page, and you will be able to fill this out online as well. Or we will have it set up in the utility billing office for you to be able to come in and fill one out. And also, you'll be able to drop these forms off at the utility billing office during their operating hours, or you can bring it by City Hall during City Hall's operating hours. So, kind of with that said, again, I think I've explained kind of what we're here for tonight and why we're here. And so I want to open it up to y'all. Let the citizens come up here and y'all tell us what y'all would like for trash service. Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Juan Esquivel. I live over on Chapman Street, and I was here for the last meeting that they tabled it, with the same question of picking up trash in the alley. Now, we may be stuck with picking up at the front with the containers, excuse me, and yeah, it's a problem for the big trucks in the alley, but they're running those other trucks. They weren't going to use those little dump things for the bulk. And I, for one, do not like junk in the front of my house. And that's basically what we would be looking at, the way it was set. The week of the 5th, we'll pick it up. Well, I know everybody here would not want to have some junky chair or some trash sitting in their front yard for 5 days waiting for it to be picked up. Now, the trash is on time. I say on the Thursdays, they pick up at my house. 1 in the morning and 1 in the evening, and that's okay. But the bulk trash stuff, I have a problem with. It just doesn't look good, for number one, and we have alleys that it could be put in the alley. Now, I don't think the Republic would want to put it in the alley because there would be too much stuff put back there. I look at it as a monetary thing. They can put it out on the street, and nobody wants to put their stuff out by the curb, so consequently, they don't have to pick up as much. But putting it in the alley makes sense only for the bulk. And it'd have to be restricted in some way so people wouldn't put junk out there, just regular trash. Right now, we're having a war with the boars in town. They're eating the pecan trees. They're eating oak trees. They're eating anything they can get a hold of. And just in the last 2 weeks, I've had to haul off and put some in the trash bin, bags of twigs and limbs that I had to cut up to make it fit in there. And of course, you can only go one time out there at the landfill for free with your paper. But at the rate this is going, if you had to fill up 20, 30 bags, and they have to sit out there in the alley, even that's not good because the sun's going to break the bags down unless they're real super strong. So that would have to be restricted as to what people would put back there. I've seen it where it just looks trashy in the alley. It just, turns your stomach, and there's no reason for that. Issue citations, let people know what's going on. Hey, if you're going to put twigs, leaves, or whatever, grass, put it in a durable sack. Then put it in the alley, and let's get the guys with Republic to put this forward. Let's pick up the bulk stuff in the alley and continue with the trash, the regular trash up front. That it just doesn't make any sense, and they have yet to show me a deal as to why they cannot pick up the bulk at the alley. That doesn't make any sense because they're not using that little dump box that they pick up the regular trash with. They have those other vehicles for that, which there's 2 guys with each one of those trucks. So in my opinion, we need to put the bulk to the alley if there is an alley available. Let's go on with the trash stuff in the front, whether it's 1 week, bi-weekly on the trash. Now, I ran this deal as much as I could. For a family of 2, you can get by with 1 brown container once a week, and then bi-weekly on the green one. Now, family of 4 or 5, different story. I can't vouch for that because I don't have that problem. But I think we should address this deal today and the next meeting you have. Stress it to Republic to do the bulk in the alley with restrictions from the public as to what they can dump back there. Okay. That's my opinion. So,
very good. Thank you, sir.
Good job, man. Way to go. Right.
Hi, Shane. R.A. Cantrell, resident of San Angelo. I was looking around on I think it's the City or the Republic website to try to find the week or the month or whenever my next bulk pickup was. And I noticed that if you were frustrated by having to wait too long, Republic will come out for a fee and pick up your bulk trash at any time they get a chance to. That the frustration that people feel about having to wait for 3 months between it on the quarterly pickup might have been designed with it in mind to drive a fee service to Republic. I asked Elizabeth several times at her neighborhood chats to see if she couldn't do one thing. Print in the newspaper every month the amount of money you pay to Republic Services. Without comment, just this is how much we sent to Republic. Could you work on doing that for us? Or is that proprietary information?
Yeah, I mean, we do publish it on our webpage, but it's a fairly, it's more complicated than we just wrote them a check, but
I figured we'd hear some of that.
But we will, but we do have it on our webpage, and I'm not sure what I'm not sure how, whether that's an advertisement with the newspaper or whether that's an actual news article. I don't know how that, I'm not familiar with that.
You put it up as every month you put the amount of money you send them?
Yeah, I don't know, is that an advertisement if we put it in the Standard Times, or if that is, but.
As much as they help to get the trash contract in, they ought to be willing to do that for free. If you wonder how we wound up in this mess, look back through some old Standard Times and see if they weren't 100% for the new trash contract. Thanks.
Hello, Mr. Kelton. I'm Joel Kemp.
Well, how are you?
Doing well. I can pass the sentiments on from gentleman on Chapman Street. I live on the field. Let me pass this map on to you. Kind of give you a little idea of what I'm going to talk about. On that date, I live in Region 1. I live in Region 1, which is number 1 on the map here for bulk pickup. Mm-hmm. Shows the dates of July 4th through the 8th. Which day is it? I called, even Republic doesn't know. Now, I had a meeting with code enforcement yesterday. I'm doing my bulk pickup this week as it states on the website on the map. By what I read here, the 4th through the 8th, that is my time. And I could put my stuff out tonight, being well within my right, according to this, off cosatx.us, and it should be picked up tomorrow. However, I received a letter from code enforcement over my said stuff that I had sitting in the alley that I haven't moved to the front. So, hence my talk with them. I got that straightened out. What code enforcement is now going to do, thanks to my conversation and meeting with Shane and Mr. Solis up there, and I'm sure the citizens will probably be glad to know this, each region on this map, when they have a pickup, code enforcement is not going to bother that region for that week. They will go the day after these dates are up and see what issues need to be, not during the pickup as it happened with me. Now, secondly, in talking to Republic Waste Services, they have one scheduled day that they will come to my region and pick up. What they told me on the phone is they have a range of dates. So I don't know what day my pickup is. I moved some more stuff out yesterday. It's still sitting on my curb. Now, it's going to remain on my curb because I put it out during the times until they do come get it. And when I do get something from code enforcement, I'm going to be visiting with this gentleman right here about it to get that picked up. I can also second, by talking to them on the phone, that they told us that $75 just to come out. Then it's $25 a yard thereafter to come get it. So you need to post on here what day Republic is actually going to pick up in these regions. I tried to do my best to follow this, so I'd be well within what I'm supposed to be doing as a citizen. Now, I agree with this gentleman here. I live over on Field. We have alleys, just like they do in Southland and a few others that maintain their cans in their alleys. So I don't see the difference in my alley versus Southland other than pavement. There's quite enough room down that alley to get those trucks. It's operated with a mechanical arm that doesn't interfere with any high lines at all in that area. In fact, I'm tired of picking up all the trash out in the street, worried about code enforcement coming by telling me about how much trash I have now in my front yard instead of my alley. So if you could address some of these issues and let us know, maybe post something up on the website about these issues at hand, I would very much appreciate it, so I don't have to go visit code enforcement and a few other people about it.
Yes, sir. Joel, we can answer your question for you and let you know exactly what the contract states and what the ordinance states on
Yeah,
that as well too.
Yeah, I pretty much know what the ordinance says on it, and as for the contract, no. I got a lot of feedback, I guess you say, from Mr. Solis, and he kept referring to the contract and what issues there were with the contract. Me being as a citizen, I've not read the contract with Republic. That's what I was stuck with when it was voted in to have Republic services. So what their contract reads, I know not. I do know my pickup day is Thursday in my neighborhood. And as for their trucks won't fit down the alley, there's too many high lines, obstructions, or other things, no, I don't see it. I've watched their trucks pick up in front of my house plenty of times, and no way will it reach the height of a high line in any way, shape, form, or fashion, even when they're dumping the cans. Those arms will not pass the top of that truck. It's dumped in the dumpster in the front. So I don't see the issue. If it's sitting there in the rack, just like it was when Trash Away was doing it, they use the arm of that truck to dump it into that can, how is it gonna mess with a high line or anything else? But yet, I'm stuck, unlike others in this town, putting my stuff out front and then going behind Republic Service and cleaning up that trash that's dumped. Secondly, I put my cans on my curb right on the edge every week. I've had 3 conversations with Republic over it. Put the cans back. It's a mechanical arm. I mean, for God's sakes, they're moving a joystick. So I come home today, guess what? Cans in front of my driveway in the street. This will be the 4th time tomorrow I'm gonna call them about that. There's no problem with putting them back on the curb. I would prefer they be in the alley so that my house doesn't look unsightly in the front, much like this gentleman's explaining. Yes, I stacked all my trash in front of my house. No, I wasn't satisfied with that. Looked pretty bad. It's gonna look real bad with that can sitting out there rotting until they come pick it up, like they're supposed to. 4th through the 8th, they need to come get it. So that pretty much takes care of my issues.
Okay.
Thanks for your time, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joel.
John Belmont. I have to say this, wasn't going to. Mr. Mayor, you made the statement a long time ago, you learned one thing from your previous mayor, is not to mess with San Angelo's trash. I'm sorry, I just had to say that. Unlike this gentleman, you all forced me, which is a good thing, into recycling. It's just my wife and I, and we found out that we recycle. And do we ever? We fill up a can every week. And we can't go 2 weeks. And I'm not going to have another unsightly can in my front yard. It just doesn't make any sense. So when you were talking about picking up bi-weekly, I mean every 2 weeks, it wouldn't do good for us. We actually have more recycling than we have trash, and which was amazing to us. And I thank you all for doing that. Secondly, I hope that the contract you took with Republic gives us some wiggle room, or at least gives the city some wiggle room. And if Republic can't come up with a better idea, I think maybe we ought to be looking at someone else to take care of the bulk waste. And I hope you have the room in the contract to do that. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ida Priest. I live on Lakeside Avenue. Like several of the others, my trash is picked up on Thursdays. But the time you see everyone put their cans out in the street, you come up behind one of the trucks, you can't get around. And I'm not living out in the southwest part of town where I've got a paved alley. I do have an alley that has always been kept mowed and sprayed and everything else. And I think it's time that Republic starts coming down our alleys. I'm a 78-year-old widow woman, and I'm responsible. I have to leave my cans out at the side of my house. I have to take my garbage and my trash out my front door or out my garage. And then in the winter or in this hot weather, it's something for me to take those cans and roll those out or roll them back in when it's so hot. And I think that this should be taken care of. This should have been left up to the voters in the first place on this cycle, on this trash, which wasn't left to the citizens of this city. And I'm a little bit put out about it. I've lived here off and on in San Angelo. My late husband was military. We've lived here in San Angelo off and on since 1955. I've seen a lot of changes. We retired here in June of '76. So I've lived here, back here for over 40 years. And I've seen a lot of changes in this city. And it's time that we get back. Yes, I'm old-fashioned, but it's time for it to get back. And if we've got an alley, that's what an alley was meant for, is to pick up our garbage. Thank you.
If you call them, they'll come out and have them move those cans for you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to be helpful.
Okay, tell them to call. They got a program for them. They don't want
The gentleman who was overwhelmed by recycling and didn't want a third can out there might consider, just consider, the idea that if he's just overwhelmed with recycling, he could actually just throw some of it in the brown can, and God will probably forgive him if he doesn't recycle at all and just throws it in the brown can without getting in too big a tizzy about that third can.
Hello.
No.
I'm Christy Euchre, and I'm a resident of San Angelo. I also represent the other trash company, Texas Disposal. I live in the Santa Rita area, but what I really wanted to do was ask us all to step back a little bit and look at the fact that we're all here. I mean, the fact that we're having this trash forum, number one, is wonderful that the city's doing this, but the fact that we're still here. In 2013, if we remember, there was a headline, San Angelo's looming trash crisis. And we knew we needed recycling. Our landfill was filling up. We knew we needed an education program. The city staff was saying this. We needed to get everybody on board and move forward. And yet we're still here. It's 2016. And I don't think our community feels that we've made a lot of progress there. And that's given by the fact that we're still discussing this over and over and having continued issues. If you're a commercial business in this town, your rates went up, some businesses went up 70%. If you look at commercial rates in San Angelo and look at it compared to the region, our rates are significantly higher for businesses, 2 to sometimes 3 times. Our residential rate is higher than it was originally proposed by Republic, although if you look across West Texas, it's not. They're right, it's not really high. But this has been on the backs of our businesses at a time when our businesses can't afford it. And I think we would all agree. Secondly, these same businesses for many years, for at least 12 years, were wrongly charged, were overcharged. And when this was found out, Republic paid them back. But we don't know if they paid everybody back. I mean, how do we know that? Did anyone check? Did anyone find these businesses? Are we sure? I don't think there's any evidence that anyone checked. So that was, what, at least $6 million. That was a loss for them, that they hadn't anticipated having to pay that back. The residential rate obviously has gone up also because of that 50-cent penalty, that we're not meeting our recycling goal, which we weren't ever going to meet it anyway because we can't recycle glass. And knowing that it takes a while to get recycling going, we weren't going to make that. So there's 50 more cents right there. And here we are now looking at another service change, again at the expense of the residents. Now, a service change isn't a bad thing. It's a great thing. I think it's good that we're thinking about these things. But let's look at the cost of this, really. And this has been said before, but we're reducing the runs of these recycle trucks by 26 weeks a year. We are adding, we're adding 4 bulky, because now we're doing quarterly, so we'd be doing it more. But when you look at that, that's 56 runs to now 38 runs. And if you look at that, that's a reduction in that's a reduction in cost for whoever's doing it. I mean, you don't have to know that much about trash, and you kind of see that. We saw it. In fact, when TDS bid on these same services back originally, if you look at our service to service, our own costs, not compared to Republic, just ours, we bid it lower if you look at those costs because it doesn't cost as much. I think that's something that needs to be considered. It's not that every month bulky is a bad thing, but on the other hand, most people aren't going to have bulky every single month as well. I think the overall question that we need to ask is, why are we agreeing to do business this way as a city? Why do we keep doing this? I don't think it's really good for our community, and the fact that we keep coming back to these issues and having to find things after the fact and then hurry up and have some forums because, oops, we were just going to make this happen, but now we've got to check with people because somebody found out that it might not be the same cost. Meanwhile, we are still at the same place. Our landfill is still filling up. We are lagging behind other cities in terms of what we could be doing on eco-friendly innovations and moving towards more diversion. We need to be leading West Texas, not kind of stumbling along. And I really think, and somebody brought this up before, and as a citizen as well, I think we need to really, truly, fairly look at these services and see other companies that might want to also see San Angelo better, just like we all do as residents. So let's take a fresh start instead of we just keep coming back here. Look at all the people in this room. I mean, the fact that we're doing this 2 years into this and still having major issues and concerns is of a concern to me. This is the city that I live in and that I love, and I'm honestly not very proud of the way this has really been handled. So that would be what I would ask, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, staff. My name is Ryan Beard. I'm with Texas Disposal System as well. I'm going to go over a little bit of the history on how we got to this mess.
Ryan, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but this is about citizens telling us what they want out of trash services.
May I ask the citizens if they want to hear how they got into this mess?
That's not what we're here for, and I don't.
Okay.
That's not what we're here for tonight. And your definition of mess and everybody else's definition of mess may not be the same thing.
I think I have the majority that it is a mess. Okay.
The majority of the people in the room, the majority of the citizens as a whole. If y'all want to visit with him separately after we leave, I mean, we didn't ask other service companies to come talk about their company and what they did or what they didn't do.
No one else would bid on this.
What their viewpoints are. We didn't ask anybody else here to do that tonight.
At the public forum, you're telling me I can't speak. Is that what you're saying?
This is for the citizens of San Angelo.
So you're telling me I can't speak at a public forum?
Ryan, we're actually looking for input from citizens at this point, and we're talking about the current services that we have as far as what changes need to be made. That's what we're looking for. As far as TDS, you had an opportunity to compete against Republic, and we know where that went anyway, so we really don't want to hash that at this point. We want our citizens to come forward and tell us what they would like to see happen, and this is what this forum is for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a citizen. I'm telling you what I want to have happen. I want to have a forum where we discuss how we got in this mess, and I'd like for all you guys to be sure and be there.
We have a lot of detail as far as the negotiations, what the city got out of it, as far as the Republic and the citizens received from that. We'd be more than happy to share that information with you as well. The mayor has interviewed previously, given that information out. We've been out and given that information as well. So again, we're more than happy to tell you and show you specifically what transpired as far as what we negotiated and why. But at this point, really what we want is input from citizens on the change of services.
I'm a commercial business owner here in San Angelo, and I'd like you to explain to me why you have decided what my trash pickup rate is going to be on a commercial dumpster. Being a free country and a capitalist society, I should be able to go out for bids to have my waste disposed of. Why is it that I can't get bids from outside contractors to come and pick up my waste? I can only deal with Republic.
So what I'm hearing is what you want is you want a free market system for commercial waste.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. We will note that, and we will bring that before council.
Thank you.
We will weigh in on the last topic from the gentleman that would like to address the rates and how we got into this mess. City of San Angelo, cosatx.us. There's you a forum to put up that everybody can watch. Doesn't cost you much to put a page up. List it all where we can go in and see everything and print it out and look at it and see what we're actually spending our tax dollars on. As far as the recycling, I'm a single man in a 3-bedroom house, and I pay the same rates as somebody that has 5. I've not said anything about it. Now, is that fair? There's really no way to tell how many people live in a given house. But for me, you can pick up my recycling once a month, and that'll more than be adequate. So as far as charges and stuff go, I would love to see the information put out on how all this got started. Okay. So the website would be wonderful.
Sure.
Doesn't cost you much to put up a web page.
Will do.
My name is Leanne Criswell. I live currently in Liz Grindstaff, soon to be Lane Carter's district. From a business owner's perspective, if you have an employee who works for a current 40-hour work week making $15,080, that's minimum wage, and is able to process an unlimited number of units with 3 exceptions, including hazardous, electronic, and mechanical, that same employee in the next contract negotiations offers working a 20-hour work week making $20,961 with a guaranteed annual raise of 2.9%, processing 25% of their average number of units, and requires an additional new company vehicle. The upside for you as an employer is that the employee is willing to take on a new responsibility over a huge project and offer a new service. You were told that the new vehicle will reflect well on the company. The downside is 75% less production for an increased cost and more exceptions, and the cost of the new vehicle. How would you negotiate the contract? Well, most of us know exactly how that went. This is, of course, a dumbed-down version of our city's new trash negotiation that's happened over the past few years, but it boils down to the fact that we were paying one rate and the contract was up and had to be renegotiated. We now pay a higher rate, which is to be expected and, quite honestly, well-deserved. And instead of a twice-per-week pickup with an unlimited pickup amount, we are limited to a once-per-week pickup with a limited amount. We are offered quarterly pickup, but they will not allow household trash, so no spring cleaning, no remodeling trash, and several other items. We have curbside recycling, which is fabulous. But quite honestly, I went to the recycling center for free once per week, and while it was a sacrifice and required extra effort in weighing the benefits of curbside recycling versus the other negatives, I personally would rather go to the recycle center or pay a recycling service. My girls and I are desperately trying to clean out and downsize. In fighting against every moral objection I had to the issue, I called the city last week to request an additional trash can. The first day I called, it was 5 minutes to 5. I got stuck on the automatic answer system of push this button and that button until I finally reached a recording that said the office closed at 5. I called again early the next morning. I was told that they would be happy to bring me an additional trash can for an additional fee of $5.50 per month. Not the $5 that was spoken at every single town hall meeting that they had last year. I attended every single one, nor the $5 that's currently on the city's website. I was also told that there would be a $20 delivery fee and an up to 3-week wait period. Or I could go down to the office and fill out the paperwork, and then I could go down and pick up my own trash can for free. I calmly thought about my response, which I don't do very often, so I'm going to be honest about that. I calmly thought about my response, and I weighed my answer, and I told the extremely polite and very helpful young lady who was working at the city office that while I understood that this was her job and that I appreciated her help, but I'd had enough with the trash, and I would come up with something else. But I was just not willing to pay the additional 50 cents. It took everything I had to come up with the extra $5. I just wasn't willing to do another 50 cents, more than what was advertised. It's against every moral objection that I have. I'm not going to pay for someone to spend $20 to drive a trash can across town to be delivered to my home for something that I'm going to pay a monthly fee for them to service. And I am not going to go pick up my own trash can that I'm going to be charged a monthly fee for them to service. I don't do that when I buy furniture. I don't do that when I do anything else. That's a fee that's negotiated in. I think it's time that as citizens of the San Angelo, we decided that we remind Republic that we are the ones with the power as the citizens of San Angelo, and we take that back. And we remind them that we are the ones that make the deal, and that we're the ones with that, and that they can come to compromise with us, and that it's not just we say, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, and move on. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, that lady that came up here and said that she was old and she had trouble moving those cans around.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, I called Republic when all this stuff started, and they said they had a program. They didn't really want me to spread it out, but they did have a deal that you could call, and for the people that weren't able to move those big canisters around, they would go out and do it for them. But their exact words to me was, don't spread it out. Okay, well, I'm getting there. That's why we came to San Angelo, to retire. So we're going to be old, and we're going to have this kind of problem. Now, everybody, well, they take their trash out. Well, sure, but they're taking out a little bit at a time. They're not pushing a big old heavy canister. No, our older people cannot do that. We have to do something to help them. And I feel that way. Also, there's one time taking the trash to the dump with your little deal in the last payment. And I told you again about these trees. We're going to have problems with these things. I would like to see that up to maybe 2 times. That ought to be enough to get us by. 2 times if you needed it. But there again, you'd have to address that with whoever, Republic, whatever. But we do need to know that about the program for the older people, that they will come out and help them. And we need to stress that they do go out and help them. Thank you.
Sir.
Earlier, and I don't think I mentioned that after we had to start putting our trash out in the street, I had 3 metal cans in a metal holder out in my alley, and my 3 metal cans were stolen before I got them moved in. Also, my son that lives a mile from me had his cans and his stand stolen. I did call the police about it and reported it. I didn't make a report on it, but I wanted them to be aware that once that we had to start moving our trash out in the front of the house, that metal cans were being stolen from the people in the alleys. I just wanted the city to be aware of that also.
Thank you, ma'am.
But I wasn't repaid for my 3 metal cans, and they would have stolen my metal stand if it hadn't been so big and heavy, and it took all that me and my son had to get it moved into my backyard.
My name is Linda Grace. And I don't know if this has been talked about, but, and this is an aside from what I want to share with you as well, the stench from garbage that has been in those cans for 7 days at 100-degree temperature is overwhelming. I have a neighbor who has a baby, and that baby, they use a lot of disposable diapers. And I can, when I walk in my front door, I get to smell that coming from their house, and there are so many flies. I'm just letting you know, this is, it's very upsetting. Every day I walk through my door, I get to smell that. I don't know if anybody else in here gets to have that experience, but I hope you don't. I got plenty of it. I grew up here, but I moved away after I graduated from college. I've lived in large cities. I've lived in Dallas. I've lived in Houston. They started recycling 20 years ago. I'm a major recycling person. I am so glad that y'all brought this to the city. I think it's a great thing. My recycle bin is full every week because I do recycle. And of course, I wish we would be able to accept glass because that would make a big difference as well, but we do not here. I do not support cutting back recycling to once or to every other week. If the city decides to do that, then I strongly feel that my bill should be reduced by about 25% because service to my house for trash pickup and recycle pickup is reduced by 25%. Thank you.
Anyone else out there have any suggestions, things they would like to see from a service perspective?
Joaquin Cervantes. I live in Mr. Thomas's district, along with my friend next door, Mr. Joe Dominguez. I live on Avenue H, and he lives on Avenue D. Luckily, we both have our homes on corner lots. And we have neighbors up and down the street on both sides, and they don't all, sometimes they live in multi-family homes, sometimes single-family homes, but either way, if it's just my wife and I, we have 2 vehicles. And if there's a family with 2 high school kids and whatnot, you're probably going to end up with about 4 vehicles. And if you only have a 2-car garage or a 2-car driveway, well, guess what? You're going to be parking their cars or pickups out on the street, curbside. Well, I have a situation where, luckily, because I live on a corner house, I can, if the front side is blocked off with cars, obviously I'm not going to take my brown canister and my green canister out to the front. I can pull it to the side on the other side, which is more of a main street, and it's a wider street. And so that problem is solved for me. But that's just me. I'm concerned for my neighbors that they don't have the benefit of living on a corner house, and so they have to call their neighbors and say, hey, you got to move your cars. It's Monday, it's trash day, and the trash truck needs to have space so we can put our canisters out in the front. Well, I'm speaking for them. Hopefully there's a resolution for that issue, for that problem. Now, we've been used to getting our trash picked up on Mondays and Thursdays. I can fill up, especially in the wintertime when we're raking up leaves and whatnot, and I can put it all in bags. Of course, it's not all going to fit in that 96-gallon container. So I would like to see us have our once-a-week pickup on our recycling, the green canister, and because we're paying these extra rates and fees and charges, those that want or need to have a second brown canister, let them have it. I could use one, maybe not every week, but at least I'd have the option or the ability to fill up 2 browns and 1 green every week if my trash is going to be picked up once a week. And I think that would calm things down a bit, and we could work on that. As far as the bulk rate, the bulk issue, I agree with the gentlemen that have spoken before me. We want to try to comply with the neighborhood cleanup, the beautification of our neighborhoods, code enforcement. So there needs to be a definite date and time when we're going to have our bulk picked up. And if it's in the alley, so be it. If it's, all you have to do is call in, okay, I'm going to have all my bulk out from the back of my garage or my driveway out on the alley, and here's the address. Or if it's on the side, like me, I would have the option of having 3 different places where I could put my bulk, but I got to know what day but give me a 4-hour time period between 8 and 12 or between 12 and 5 or 4 or whatever. And if it has to be done on Saturdays when most people might be able to easily pull their stuff out and just set it out there on that one Saturday, so what? Okay, let's go with one Saturday a month, the first Saturday of the month for Region 1, the second Saturday of the month for Region 2, so forth and so on. Let's try to keep things simple and serviceable, because we're the folks that are toting the note on all this. Thank you.
My name is Willie Soller, and I live at 2601 A&M Avenue. I've lived in San Angelo for 32 years. Do you have a way to throw some pictures up on the screen?
No, sir, I do not have.
Not? I find that the people in the room here have the same problem that I do. Each time that our trash is picked up out in the alleys, it's scattered to a certain extent. And one unit will not work at our home. There are just two of us, my wife and I. All of our children are grown and moved off. But people need a way to put their trash up so it can be picked up. Now, I had my trash can full out there, this gray one, and I had mowed my yard, and I had 3 plastic bags, about a third full there, one you could take and just throw up in the truck with. And the gentleman come by to pick it up. I waited out there for him to show up that day. And he picked up the ones that had the gray. And I said, just a minute, and I'll throw these in there. He said, no, I cannot touch those. He said, I'm not allowed to pick up a bag. He said, if I pick that bag up, Republic will fire me. And said, sir, I need a job, and I'm sorry, but I can't do it. So I went ahead and picked those bags up, run back my pickup, and I have a small place out east of town, and I took them out there and poured them in the pasture. Well, to mow my yard, it's impossible to put the grass in that container. I have some shrubs that need to be hedges that need to be trimmed, but there's not room to put those in there. I would request that if a person chooses up to 3 units, now he doesn't have to order 3, but I would like to see opportunity for each individual in San Angelo without having to pay that $6 fine or fee for that extra bag. I think need to be, we didn't have to pay that. We didn't have to pay it before the company took over that has it now. We could go ahead and cut our grass, we could bag it, whatever we wanted to do, they come by, those people were friendly as can be, couldn't ask for better service. But across the street from me, this gentleman had some things, cleaning out the house, I assume, and he had his container full. He had 2 other containers, regular trash cans, beside that were loaded. Now, he works 10 days on and 10 days off in Odessa, Texas. His wife works for the university. She goes to work early in the morning, comes in about 5:30 or 6. There's no way for him to come pack off his trash, not in less than 10-day period. It could be there a good 2 weeks and sometimes 3 before he misses that turn. But we do need some help in space. We really do. I don't care if you just got 2 people in a house or you've got a half a dozen. For those people that have children, I feel very, very sorry for them. I really do. My heart bleeds with those people because there's no way they're going to be able to put the trash that they need and have it hauled off on time without being an eyesore. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? There's Art. Art, how are you?
Art Elkins. First of all, on the recycling portion, I have watched from my yard. I don't know if the vehicles, when they come by, if they've had some out of operation or what, but they'd have two guys on the back end of that trash truck, and they put recycle and the trash in the same truck. I've seen that 2 or 3 different times. You know, we're paying for the entire operation, and recycling, I'm agreeing with the way things are right now, once a week. But my biggest concern about these containers is placing them out of sight. You know, I agree with everybody here that said we're talking about the alleys. I would really like for you guys to take a look at that and let us put our junk back in the alleys again. On the bulk pickup, I have not seen anything in the paper, and I may be wrong, about what times or anything since July of last year. You know, I haven't seen anything in the paper about bulk pickup, you know, whether to put it in the alley or, and that you shouldn't put it up to the citizens of San Angelo to call Republic, or call you guys to ask about times. It should be in the newspaper and let us know. You know, that's one big thing. The other thing is code enforcement. Back several years ago, there was only 2 or 3 code enforcement employees. The same thing holds today, except you have more employees, and I believe that if code enforcement would do their job, instead of relying on the people to call in, squeal on your neighbors, it's completely ridiculous. Code enforcement needs to do their job, or fire them and get somebody else in there to do the job. Thank you.
Anyone else want to share service ideas?
Good evening. So I am here, and I don't have the perspective of being a homeowner, but I do live in an apartment. And so what I am here to advocate for, and
Ma'am,
talk
I'm sorry,
about-
what is your name?
McKenna, sorry. Is for the future and sustainability. And so what I've seen so far being here in this town is my apartment doesn't recycle, the base doesn't recycle, the furniture store that I went to, they don't recycle any of their packaging, their big boxes. And so what I'm wanting to see more is the recycling program being implemented citywide. So, thank you.
Hightower. The only thing I wanted to say was the garbage cans out on the street makes my street look like an alley 2 days a week. And if some artist was to come to San Angelo and do a caricature of San Angelo, their picture would be full of garbage cans.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else? Oh, there's Art again. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, the placement of containers, they should be out of sight. Whether they're, if they're in the alley, fine. But like most of these people are talking about, it's unsightly to have these things sitting out there. And if code enforcement, I'm going to hit on you guys. If code enforcement would do their job, because a lot of people, at least on the east side of town, the south and southeast side, containers stay out in the front forever, until the next week, whatever. Also, I have at my house, I have an area that you could park 2 cars on it with no problem. It's all concrete. When they pick up my cans in the front, they will end up out in the street. I would have to go out in the street and pick up my trash cans. There's no reason, if those arms can pick it up, they should be able to set them back down where they found them. So, it's a problem for me. I pick up trash after they've gone on down the street, and it's a safety hazard. If people are driving at night and can't see these trash cans laying out in the street, there's an accident. Who's responsible for this, since we're required to put these things out on the curb? If somebody has an accident, who's responsible? The citizen, or is the city going to be sued, or whatever? Thank you.
My name is Santos Becerra. I was not aware that the apartments aren't recycling. That's about almost half the population, isn't it? It's a lot of people. Anyway, and the other thing that I wanted to mention is that I think we need to educate the people again, because it's very easy to just say, well, you didn't raise enough recycling, so we're going to charge you 50 cents. So is the city, anybody doing anything but telling people, hey, let's recycle? I think we need to have a program. We get bills all the time, and you can use that to inform us. But I'm concerned also because in my neighborhood, I see a lot of green cans that never get put out because our people say they don't recycle. Well, I found out that they're throwing their recycles in the regular brown cans. I see a lot of cardboard in there, So I kind of think occasionally it's easy to just say, let's raise it 50 cents, but how about telling people, hey, let's get with the program? That's all I got to say.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Listening to the recycling issues, now I have this question for you gentlemen. San Angelo Independent School District. I live close to a school, which would be Fannin. I drive by Altaloma almost every day on my way to work. And thinking about recycling and how much school goes through their paperwork, boxes, and everything else, there's one dumpster that sits out there. So how is SAISD doing their recycling? Are they getting charged for recycling? Or are they just on the one dumpster fee? That is my question. And again, on these questions that I've asked, along with the rest of these kind citizens, I would like to see some responses on the website. Y'all say that you'll get back to us. How are you going to get back to me with the answers? Is that on a personal basis, or is that going to be on the website?
The website will be, and of course, like I said, we're going to take the responses that we've received here tonight,
right?
And we were going to bring these responses to council, okay, for council to take action on and give staff direction as to what they would like to see staff do.
Okay.
So it will be not only, we can place the questions that are here. We can, some of the questions, especially about bulk trash, the current bulk trash program, things like that you've brought up here tonight, we can place those answers on our website.
Right. Most of all, I guess what I'm trying to bring to light here, and I guess I might as well just say it, is transparency of government. If you gentlemen as our government run your business, and the city is a business, as transparent, and we can see what's going on, I think you'd have a lot more satisfaction from your citizens, and they don't think anything's going on. If we can see it on paper, we can see what you gentlemen do with our money and our taxes that we get charged, sales tax, storm runoff taxes, everything else, including trash services. If we can see what's going on, there's nothing to hide, and nobody feels like they're being taken advantage of in any way, shape, or form. Because let's face it, San Angelo is one of the highest tax cities in the state of Texas, and that's on the websites. You can look it up. So yeah, a little transparency of where we're spending our money would be great. How many consultants does it take to figure out we need a different waste company or something else? We can figure that out. You gentlemen can figure that out. You're educated. It's not complicated to do. But transparency most of all. At least that's my opinion. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
One thing, and I'll get out of here. You talked about this, everybody came here with one thing in mind, get the trash to the alley. And you mentioned that you were going to have another deal to meet. What I want to know is, we're having these meetings, we're giving our input on this thing, and you're going to have another meeting with the same purpose. How long are we going to be stuck with where we are today? That's what I would like to know. Are we going to make any progress? Or are you going to tell the Republic, hey, we need a change? Or is the Republic going to hold us over our head and say, no, we're doing it for a year until we complete our contract and then lump it? And so basically what we're doing is lumping it. And I think that we need to have a positive deal here and say, okay, we've made our move, let's change it. Or are we going to be stuck here where we are today for the rest of the year? Is what I would like to know. You tell me what you feel there. We're stuck.
The plan is one, based on the turnout we had tonight, we will probably hold another forum to let other citizens that maybe didn't have the opportunity to come speak tonight have their opportunity as well. And then, of course, we want to send this out to make sure everybody in the water bill, to make sure everybody has a chance to be heard, have their opportunity. And once we receive these, we'll compile all this data, and we should be able to, probably the second meeting in September, bring this to City Council, show the data to City Council, everything that we've gathered, and then City Council will give us direction as to whether we move forward and which changes that they want us to go address. And then from there, we will sit down with Republic Services and we will discuss all of these items, all of these things that council gives us direction to do. We'll discuss all of this. Once we've had those discussions, we will bring that back to council once again and let council know what those discussions were, how they went, if there's price changes, increases, decreases, for different service levels. We're going to bring all that back to council, and then council will have the opportunity to review all of that material, look at that, and then they will give us direction whether yes or no, whether we're going to have change or not at that point. Okay. We're going to do everything we can to get this information in front of council and let council make the best decision they can make based on the data, based on what we find out, and based on what citizen input and what the citizens want.
Okay. I'd like to show of hands on the ones moving it to the alley. The ones against it? One.
For the sake of time, we have time for one more question, and then we'll hang around afterwards to answer any other questions you may have, okay?
Well, this isn't a question of John Belmont again. Mm-hmm. It just seems like to me, after listening to all this and about the contract, are we in line for the Fickle Fate Award again?
Okay, if there's any more comments, we have time for maybe one more comment or suggestion. If not, again, I will be here, my assistant director will be here, Jeremy Miller, our contract manager, will be here, City Manager Daniel Valenzuela will be here. You can visit with any of us. Again, thank you for coming here tonight, sharing your ideas and your thoughts with us, and we will again look forward to seeing this at City Council around the second meeting in September, first meeting in October. Thank you.